It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wide discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Waking Up with Wesley is sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.
Hello there, South Mississippi, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams for Friday, October 10th, 2025. We're gearing up for the final days of cruising the coast, and the weather is looking like it will be very cooperative. We're finishing off on the bright side as we get to the finish line of cruising the coast. But also, things are going to turn a little chilly here. And so some of us might experience some of the coolest temperatures we have seen so far this season. And I want to take a look at some of that information. But in order to get to the temperature information, we have to kind of go through the humidity information. So let's talk about the humidity first, and then we'll get to the temperature second. And humidity is directly involved with the rain chances, which for us look slim to none. Our neighbors in Florida and the East Coast, they're dealing with the wet weather, but we've got a big bubble of dry high pressure that is setting up all across our part of the map here. So that's good news. It's going to be too dry for rain in the next 7 days. You know, we do have a drought, so we could use some, but at least we don't have to worry about rain bothering the cruisers. Now, overnight, if you were out early this morning, you might have noticed it feels a little muggier. We had some sneaky mugginess come in overnight. This is the last 6 hours, which I think I could do a better job if I paint the last 24 hours. Let's try that out and see what that looks like. So there you go. We basically have seen very muggy conditions, or at least decently muggy conditions from yesterday. But then we had this brief moment when overnight it actually got really dry and comfortable and pleasant after 9 o'clock last night. But then right before or around 3 or 4 o'clock this morning, the mugginess came right back. And so, yeah, we are temporarily undoing the dryness, but we're going to get it back into gear later today. This is a look at the WLOX weather forecast showing you exactly when we will get that drier feel back. And I think it will be by lunchtime today. So look at the hour-by-hour information, and you can see that it's a beautiful morning for most of us. I know that there were some clouds on the Hancock County coast, but for most of the rest of the area, a lot of sunshine this morning. And then there's that drier feel beginning around noon, 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. So if you are longing for that crisp fall feel, you are just hours away from getting that here on the Mississippi coast. We had it, but we lost it for a moment with this muggy morning, but it's going to come right back as we continue with the dry wind from the north. This is how I know it's coming back, because look at this. This map showing where that mugginess is located, and it's really just right here across parts of the Mississippi coast, across parts of the Louisiana coast. But look at the wind. The wind direction is coming in from the northeast, from over here. So we're about to tap into, you don't see any green over there in Alabama. You know, those numbers over there in the lower 60s and the 50s. We're about to see that drier air moving in. And now this is at the surface, but if you actually go upstairs in the air is extremely dry. This is our water vapor, which is the satellite imagery, and it's kind of off the charts dry air. You've got the brown color, then you've got this like gold color, which is even more dry than the brown and red color. So yeah, it doesn't get any drier than this, which basically makes it impossible for rain to form. So you're not expecting any rain here, as we have this really super dry air setting up across the Gulf Coast region upstairs in the air. And this is actually on the backside of a low pressure that is swirling near the Florida coast. So that's a low pressure there. And as that brings rain to areas off the East Coast, on the backside of it, we're just watching this drier air coming in. Also, at the same time as that low is swirling offshore of Florida, we actually look across Texas. And what do we see back there? We see the flow going up and then down. That is because it's a bubble of high pressure. And the wind circulates clockwise around high pressure. So that's also helping to pull down this drier wind or this drier air from the north. So we got two systems, a high to our west, a low to our east, both working together to keep us underneath this drier weather pattern where there's just nothing but dry air here setting up for much of the Gulf Coast region. That's going to be locked in, folks, today, tomorrow, Sunday. And by the way, this low is also going to try to pull down some slightly cooler conditions. So that blue color you see there, slightly cooler conditions too, but it's mainly drier conditions as we go into tomorrow, as we go into Sunday. So now that we've talked about kind of the dry part and how that's going to stay, right? It's staying locked in from this afternoon through the weekend, through next week. That is how we can get some cooler temperatures. And I'm telling you, this morning is not going to feel like it is tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning is going to be 10 degrees cooler than this morning. We're going to likely find many 50s on the board. If we take a look at the current conditions, here's a look at what's happening now. See, we got upper 60s. Tomorrow morning, it might be upper 50s at this time of day. So that's what I mean when I say tomorrow morning will be around 10 degrees cooler than this morning. Like I said, we did check the cams. There were some clouds over Hancock County. Let's see. Yeah, there still are. So even though most of the coast is completely clear, Hancock County has held on to some clouds that are just over the sound, but they're kind of clipping into parts of coastal Hancock County. So y'all do have those clouds this morning. But let's talk temperatures. So that was the first half of the video talking about the humidity. Second half of the video talking about the temperatures. Today it's warm. We're looking at lower and middle 80s. There will be a little breeze at times. That breeze coming in from the northeast. That's that drier air trying to come in from the northeast. Anytime you feel that breeze, tell it thank you. Thank you for bringing fall here. 0% chance for rain, and that's perfect for Friday night football. You got a touchdown tonight. It's just going to be absolutely gorgeous. It's exactly what you want, what you dream of for Friday night football in the fall. That's the weather that's coming tonight. Clear, crisp, and eventually getting a little cool, but not cold enough that you're going to be like shivering and you need a coat or anything like that. Now, overnight, that's when the temperatures start to get a little chilly. You can see after midnight, Friday night, which is also called Saturday morning, we're going to drop down to around 60 on the coast. And there will be a variation depending on where you are and how close you are to the bodies of water. The water temperatures are still in the 80s. So if you're close to the water or if you're downwind of a large body of water, like the one near Bay St. Louis, like the one near Biloxi, D'Iberville, St. Martin, Ocean Springs, if you're downwind of that, the temperature might be not as cool. So that's why places like Bay St. Louis, Pass Christian, maybe not as cool. Places like Biloxi, Ocean Springs, maybe not as cool. But everyone else probably going to be basically around 60 degrees. And I think we're going to find 50s in many parts of Jackson, Harrison, and Hancock counties. And then you take a look at the inland communities. There's that October chill, folks. Again, this is after midnight Friday night. So if you're going to be out and about overnight or into early Saturday morning, that's when you can experience temperatures like that. So we'll basically see them ranging from the lower 60s to the mid and upper 50s tonight. And for many of us, it's definitely on the cool side. For some of us, when you get to the 50s, it's going to be kind of a bit of an October chill. So tomorrow morning, that's how the day starts. Saturday begins with an October chill in the air. But this is only for a temporary, a brief moment, right? It's not going to be chilly the whole day. A place like Wiggins wakes up to 58 degrees at 6 in the morning. But by 10 in the morning, it's already in the 70s, so it feels a little more comfortable. But if you're going to be up before 8 in the morning or so, before 9 in the morning or so, you may want to consider having long sleeves. It is going to be chilly. A place like Ocean Springs or perhaps Long Beach, you'll be around 60 around 6 o'clock Saturday morning, and still seeing some pretty cool lower 60s around 8 o'clock Saturday morning. But then eventually, once the sun gets higher in the sky, that's when we start to warm. And before you know it, we're all into the warm 80s, but with lower humidity. So it is actually going to feel pretty comfortable, even when the temperatures get to the 80s, because it is pleasantly dry. It will be really comfortable. No rain, a lot of sun on Saturday, so it's just a picture-perfect day, even though it is off to a chilly start. And there still will be a little breeze there to keep in mind. Now, the coolest temperatures of the season, let me show you this. Let's see if I have this prepared. So the information might be a little off for October because I haven't updated this in a few days. But disregarding what it says for October, look at the rest of the year. So when's the last time we saw 50s? We haven't had any 50s this month. There were none September, none August, none July, none June, but there you go, May. So you have to go all the way back to May to the last time we had 50s in in Gulfport, Biloxi. And that's basically what we're forecasting when we go to tomorrow night. So not Friday night, but Saturday night. Look at this. And I mean, technically it's Sunday morning, because there's Saturday evening already cooling off into the upper 60s. But then after midnight Saturday night, which is also called Sunday morning, that's when you get those 50s. In places like Gulfport, Biloxi, 59, that will be the coolest since May. You know, it's been a while since it's been that cool. And you will also see middle 50s in places like Wiggins. So Wiggins and Perkinston could be around 55, 56. Whereas Gulfport, Biloxi, Pascagoula could be around 57, 58, 59. And that's what you see here on the temperature map for Sunday morning. That difference, depending on exactly where you are, like you see Wiggins, Lucedale, you got 55, but then closer to the coast, some upper 50s. Either way, with those 50s showing up, if we get them Sunday morning, it will be the first time since May. So it will be a long time coming, but some of the coolest air of the season. And this stretch will likely continue. You can see those mornings there at the bottom showing the Sunday morning 59, Monday morning same story, Tuesday morning very similar as well, and then maybe some moderation toward the middle of next week. So if you look at the next 4 mornings, here they go. Saturday morning we're going to see mainly those upper 50s. Sunday morning we could have middle 50s in some place, but nothing but 50s basically. Monday morning, another one with basically nothing but 50s. And then Tuesday morning, still some 50s lingering, mainly inland, but maybe we're back to the lower 60s on the coast. So that's definitely going to be, like I said, a little bit of a shock to the system, because it's the first time that we have seen that so far since summer began. Now, one thing I do want to keep in mind, look, what do you do when the temperatures are chilly? You turn on the heater, maybe in your house. I probably won't. It's too early for me. I usually don't do it until we hit the 40s or 30s, but we'll see. Maybe some of you are not as cold-natured, so you might consider turning the heater on in your house. You know, you have that dust on the furnace, that dusty smell might come for the first time if you're turning it on for the first time in the season, so keep that in mind. If you don't have your furnaces, your heating, your central heating and cooling serviced, you know, typically keep in mind it might not function as you want it to, and it might be challenging to heat your home if it's not functioning properly. Sometimes when you have it turn on for the first time and that dust, you know, you're smelling that kind of smoke or dust smell. It's literally the dust kind of burning on the surface of the furnace. And that's something I'm slightly concerned about, because this time of year, as we get closer to winter, you do tend to see a lot more kind of home fires, especially in the winter season, not really fall, but in the winter, as more and more people are starting to turn on their home heaters, or they're using space heaters in their homes. You know, this is that time of year that we might begin to talk about home heating safety, because I don't want any fires to start as we are trying to keep ourselves warm from some of the October chill this morning. Some people might do some outdoor burning, where maybe you're considering a bonfire this weekend to keep warm from the October chill that will be there during the overnight hours. And this is what I'm getting at. These are the conditions that we're tracking. It will be a little breezy into the weekend with lower humidity. Check. We're in a severe drought with no rain in sight. Check. So these are kind of borderline wildfire danger conditions, because anytime you have severe drought and you have lower humidity, that makes it easy for a fire or a wildfire to spark. And when you also have it a little breezy, that makes it easy for any wildfire that starts for it to spread quickly. So with those two things in mind, while there is no red flag warning as of the time of this video, Friday morning, there's no wildfire danger alerts in place. There are no burn bans for the 6 southernmost counties at the time of this Friday morning video. I just wanted to give you that heads up that we will probably be borderline on those conditions, and you shouldn't be surprised if there might be some burn bans, or maybe somehow some places in our region get put underneath a red flag warning or a fire danger warning, or whatever they're called, fire weather warning, or whatever they're called. And I just wanted to remind you to play it safe with any outdoor burning, or if you are doing any home heating with a space heater, or using your home heater for the first time and turning that furnace on for the first time of the season. Just understand there might be a slight elevation of that wildfire danger heading into the weekend. Just wanted to give you the first alert about that. But otherwise, beautiful weather, beautiful weather for the weekend here, for cruising the coast as we wrap things up. We are into a nice stretch of fall-like conditions. Cool mornings, warm afternoons, crisp low humidity starting this afternoon, continuing into the weekend. So a nice, pleasantly dry stretch of days are on the way. Well, that'll do it for today's edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. I hope that you enjoy the October chill in the mornings over the weekend. And until next time.
Waking Up with Wesley has been sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.